My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice is cold. I'm only here to even the score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice is cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is sewn up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is sewn up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up.
What up, Night Nation? It's your boy Roger, and we're here for another episode of The Knighted Ones. This week, we're going to be asking what, why, how, and hopefully you'll be here with us. We'll be answering your questions, so please make sure you get those in. As a reminder, we are the only UCF podcast that features a former UCF National Champion, a former UCF radio host, an ESPN analyst and hoops player, an infamous, yes, that's infamous rapper, a resident influencer and IG star shooting the breeze talking UCF sports. Remember to like and follow us on YouTube, IG, and check out the 70-plus teams and conferences on the College Huddle and the Big 12 Huddle. All right. So this week, we got a lot to talk about. Night Nation's kind of gone into a tizzy, and, we'll talk about whether that's warranted or not, where we are, what our expectations were, all of that fun stuff, and what we saw this past week. So before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and bring the crew to the stage. First to the stage, someone who needs no introduction. You know him. We know him. It's Trey Neal. What's up, Trey?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Good, man. Glad to have you back. You were spitting some facts in the text thread, so I expect you to come hard. I don't know if this is the first game this year that you're going to be yelling at a cloud, but this might be the one.
Yeah, maybe some yelling. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you guys are, though.
All right. Well, next to the stage, the man who knows IG and IG knows him. It's Alan Levin. Welcome back, Alan.
I came prepared with the hair flip, no hat on, but now I'm putting the hat on.
All right, nice. Yeah, put that away. We can only handle it for so long. All right, guys. This week, we got a lot to talk about. Another team from Kansas we played this week. This time, they rolled into the bounce house. Let's go ahead and start off with our text talk of what we were feeling, what we were saying, what we were thinking during the game. So, Alan, I'm going to start with you. What's your text talk for this week?
Yeah, so it was something that Ben said, and I kind of resonated with it. It was after the game when in our text thread when we were all kind of, upset, raw with emotion, obviously after a really heartbreaking loss. But Ben said, "I'm upset with the way the game was called last night, but by no means upset that Frost is our coach. I want him to be here forever as long as he keeps building the culture the way it needs to be built. Two things can be true. I can be upset that we got out-coached last night, but excited for what I believe we will be in the future under Frost." And I think that's a pretty level-headed take. And, once you calm down, let the loss wear off, I feel pretty strongly agree with that statement by Ben.
All right. Trey, how do you feel after that and in response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ben 100%. Mine is you, Roger, you were like, all right, offense, do you want to win this? I think our defense played really well. Just from start to finish, I think they kept us in the game. I think they gave us chances to win the game. And again, offense, do you want to win? And that we didn't get to win this one, but yeah, that's my thought. Is offense, do you want to win this game? So,
yeah, it's I think the crazy thing for me with this game this week was how different of a situation it was. Right, we had so many chances to not, I think, win this game. Obviously, Taven Jackson going out was a tough loss for us as a team. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in Cam. That was one of my things in the text talk, is I didn't think Cam could make a difference. He did get a few good passes in. The crazy thing for me is, why didn't we open it up earlier? They were just stacking the box basically since the second half started and beat us through the air. The thing that got me with this week is why And Alan, this goes back to your text talk. Why are we beating our heads in trying to run up the middle when like we're not having any success at all? Whether we're talking about the goal line, we knew, Taven Jackson, I know that Trey, you mentioned this in the text, was that Taven Jackson, why isn't he running? He has been running, mostly designed rollouts. But this game, I honestly think, and you tell me, Trey, but it looked to me like they told him to stay in the pocket and let your lineman protect you because of the injury that was out there. And he ended up getting injured anyway. What I don't understand is why on the blind side, it took him that long to recognize it and why he didn't start scrambling out of the way. I mean, he had, when you start looking, and we'll look at the PFF numbers, when you, the offensive, the pass blocking was really, really good. But as a quarterback, you got to understand, you got 3 seconds, and then you got to be looking around and have that situational awareness of where the blitz is coming from if you're not going to get rid of the ball. So he straight up got drilled on a blind side.
Technically, it hit him in front of his face. The blitz came right in his face. It was a good call.
It came from the side.
He was like this, and it came literally right here on that left, and it hit him right in that left shoulder.
Oh, God, I get what you mean, but it came from the left side of the line is what my point was.
Left side. No, it was the right side of the line.
On his right side, yes. Left side.
Right side of our offensive line.
Yeah,
left side of the defense.
100%.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it sucks because I don't think he's maximizing, this isn't just a Taven Jackson problem. I don't think any of our quarterbacks are truly reading what they should defensively as far as giving the ball and, win the pool. I think a lot of the times when they do pool, it's like Frost is like, pull the ball. You're going to get the lead. You're going to get this look, pull it, make the play. Because I went back and I told you I went back and watched some of these reads. If you take it, you have to make one man miss and it's a defensive tackle. I'm fully confident all of our quarterbacks can make a defensive tackle miss in open space, not like it's in a tight confined space. It's in open space. So, and it's not just Taven Jackson. It's something I noticed early. I thought maybe this is how they're calling it, but they're just legitimately, they're not pulling it. I don't know why. You could attribute it to injury. It could be because of injury. That's very fair. But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't want to say they're scared to run. I don't want to say that, but it just seems like the reads are there. And again, when you're dealing with an offensive line who we all acknowledge is struggling running the football, you have to, when you have these opportunities, these one-on-ones, you got to make it happen. So, that's something I've noticed as I'm watching is just the reluctancy a little bit to make these reads and pull. And you're getting Miles Montgomery one-on-one with one-on-two, really. Sometimes it's one-on-two. But he's extremely talented. And he's turning some of these gains that should be -3, -4 yard losses into just 1 yard gains. We talked about that a lot with RJ in the past. His ability to make a bad play, just a live to fight another down type of play, is a valuable trait. So I think that's what I'm seeing a little bit of issues. And I think it could be because of injury. My only concern was, again, I saw Cam do it at the beginning of the year. I saw him do it when he came in again. Same thing. They're just not handing the ball off. And I think that's why Ja'Curry Brown Frost likes it, because he's actively trying to pull and make plays. If he sees it, he can run. I mean, we saw him the touchdown early in the year. If he sees it, he's going to make it happen. So I don't know. It's interesting.
The thing for me about Ja'Curry, it's almost like he's an extra running back and a big one, because we're offsetting what our line is not able to do, right? They're not able to get pushed. They're not able to. I mean, we saw it. We saw it for 3 straight downs on the goal line. You should be able to tush push. And what was up with that? We did a sneak, but we had our running back, Miles Montgomery. He was literally 10 yards behind him. Didn't even come up. He just stood there. You automatically lose on numbers just by that. Not that he would have been a blocker, right? But he would have at least been able to push the line a little bit or get him over the top, or, I don't care, leg press him. I think what I said in the text talk was get him in there, pick him up, throw him into the end zone if you have to, right? So Jakuri, for me, all he is really is he's an offset and gives us an extra large running back, almost like a wildcat, to offset the offensive line's deficiencies in the running game. That being said, Cam, when it comes to Cam, the thing that gets me with him was, and I don't know if this is because he sat for a while, he hadn't been taking snaps for a while, then all of a sudden this last week he started taking snaps again after that back injury. He just wasn't reading the pull right? He was either handing off when he shouldn't have or been pulling when he shouldn't have very early on. What he did do was he passed the ball fairly effectively. And what I didn't understand is the first half, we did a real good job of making sure that we didn't give them time to get to us. We got the ball out quickly. We got it on slants. We got it on whatever. We got it out in space quickly, and then we were able to make plays because we were breaking up the box. For the second half, I don't know why, but we were running it down their throats, literally in the A gap, and doing it over and over and over and over again. So, you'd mentioned Frost calling plays, or Ben did. Yeah, there were a lot of questionable play calls in the second half. The first half we had it rolling. Second half, I think we were all just beating our head against the wall, saying, "What are we doing? What are these play calls?" That's not just on the players; it's also putting your players in the right look against defenses to do that. And speaking of Frost, he looked completely upset in his press conference. I don't know if you watched it, Trey. But he was angry and upset and exasperated. I hadn't seen him in a presser like that before. I know he's an emotional guy. What does he do in the locker room after a game like that, where we had 2 or 3 opportunities to at least tie the game, and either shot ourselves on our foot in the penalty, or the play calling, or with the goal line thing, or at the very end, what was a terrible non-PI call?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the presser. I know he was upset because, like I said, we blew that game. Again, you get second down and goal on the 1 yard line, you have to get it in. I don't care how you have to do it. You have to. There's no excuse to not get in that situation. You just have to get it done, and that's you want to look at your O-line first, because quarterback, the tush push, I think that's what we ran. That's just
with no tush push.
Without a tush push, just really quarterback sneaking. And props to Kansas, they played really well. But yeah, that's down 7, gotta have it. You gotta have it. There's no real excuse for it. But yeah, I think that's probably what he's frustrated with, because that game was winnable. I mean, I think you say the same thing about the Kansas State game. These are winnable games, and you're kind of letting them slip through the cracks. And what we see is a very tough conference. So
what did we as we kind of look at that, was that Frost trying to get his team, or will his team, or give them a spark by saying, "Hey, we're going to get it across this yard line, half yard," and then it ended up being a half yard line. We're going to get this score. Was that like the go bone moment, but we got boned by the go bone moment? Is that what Scott Frost was trying to do, or no?
No, I mean, again, you talking about like the end of the game?
No, I'm talking about like when we were at the goal line. We had 3 straight opportunities from the 1 yard line. We did almost the exact same play, tried to push it through the A gap. And then, well, the last one we didn't, but the first 2 we did.
Yeah.
And, was that kind of all right, guys, buck up. Let's make a statement here to show that we're in it to win this game. Was that him trying to motivate the guys that way, like Josh?
As opposed to passing it, you mean?
As opposed to anything else. I mean, it went to the same gap every single time. They tried to go off tackle on one of them, but he didn't go far enough out to do it. And on the last one, I'll be honest with you, I'm still not convinced he didn't get that last TD. We didn't get a good angle on it because the ref was in the way. And then on the other angle, the security guard was in the way, which that's a whole nother question. But, as far as the camera guys are concerned, like if there's a ref standing in front of you or a security guard standing in front of you, And why we had 7 security guards surrounding the end zone on that play, I don't know. But like at the end of the day, I'm just wondering, it was that him trying to make a statement to his team and Frost saying, go get this done. This is us pushing through and going to, we're going to beat this team. We're going to, because it's almost like a grudge match when you do it on the running game. Whereas with Heupel, he was like, go bone on that. I think it was 2018 where he said, go, where we did that against Memphis. It was 4th down. We were down. We were coming back. And it worked for us. It sparked the team. So I don't know if he was looking for a spark to like kind of push that through, or was that the mentality behind that, or was there any other reason to do that?
I don't think so, because we had to go for it. It wasn't like the Heupel one. It was second or third quarter, like that was like I'm going for momentum. Yeah, you're like I'm going for momentum to swing the game. This one was you don't get the touchdown, your odds of winning are significantly going down. And
yeah, but why do you not leak a tight end out there, or do a corner pass or something? I know the tight ends didn't play well, and we had our 2 tight ends out, right? Like Wade was out after that alligator arm because he couldn't lift his arms, which I don't know why he was out there for that play. If he can't lift his arms, like, why are you trotting him out there or letting him go out there? Max Bragg played terribly. Like the whole offensively, the tight end group was under 50 on the PFF rating. So like you should still, they were stacking the box hard. They were not putting any safety on there. Roll them out, throw to a tight end at the corner of the end zone or something.
You can't, it's hard to do that when you're on the one. Like there's only so much real estate. And again, for example, if we would have thrown the ball 4 times from the one, we'd be complaining, why are we throwing the ball?
Well, I'm not saying throw the ball 4 times. I'm saying try it early so that you break the box up a little bit, because they were stacking everybody up on the goal line, and you've already got a numbers disadvantage. They didn't have anybody out on the edges to cover any potential wide receivers. They put everybody right in the middle. So why not do that to make them at least second guess or take a couple of guys out of the box?
I think there was confidence that they could get a half a yard. I think that's at the end of the day. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of like,
if you like, I even said it. She's not to interrupt you, Alan. I'm sorry, but
you're going to do it anyway.
You can't. I mean, if you can't get half a yard to win a game, you don't deserve to win the game. Like you should not have to sneak out or do anything. Like you shouldn't have to do that.
And I get it. Like 3 straight plays in a row, you would think, all right, let's go for something different here just to change it up. And I get what you're saying, Roger. It would have been good when you see, our O-line is struggling, has struggled all season. Let's try something different. But it's kind of like, I think, you kind of have like the whole, like the Marshawn Lynch situation in the Super Bowl with Pete Carroll, like why'd they pass it kind of thing. Like, I think despite how much the O-line is struggling, you would think half a yard is attainable on 4 tries. That's the shocking part to me. I don't care how bad they are. You would think there'd be just enough push.
Weren't they at the 2 on the first down, and then they got it down to the 1, and then they tried?
But either way, though, you know what I mean? It's such a short field. Like you would think, it's not like we're talking about the O-line had to get them 10 yards. We're talking 2 yards here. I kind of get why he ran it, but I agree. Maybe it shouldn't have been the same play over and over again. But it's like you would think, all right, the odds are in our favor when you have 4 chances there, but clearly, it didn't work out.
Well, they went off tackle on the last one, and according to the refs, ended up short. I'm not sure because he stretched for that.
Again, he should have done something though. He didn't. I didn't like his run either though. He didn't like. He should have.
Well, part of the problem was we had one of our players trip that was supposed to be blocking for him.
If 84 gets that block, he walks in.
Yeah,
I don't know who 84 is. He tripped on the way out to the block, and the guy that ended up stopping the tackle or stopping the run is who he tried to block. But and again, those are like those little things of execution at the end of a game that matters. You can't trip game on the line.
Yeah.
Like that's just football. Football is, Roger, you always talk about like the 5 plays, like you win or lose a game. Yeah. In hindsight, not obviously while it's happening, but that was the drive, in my opinion, that I wouldn't say it cost us the game, but we lost because we could not score them from the 1. That's why we lost. I don't know how it shakes if we do score and what happens after that. But I can tell you, we did not score, and we ended up losing, coming up short because we could not get across at the end.
Yeah, so 84 was a blocking tight end, Thomas Wadsworth. He's there just for big packages, right? So that's what he's there for. So the thing about it is, for the season, we were talking about how we were doing better in the red zone because we were scoring more. We are, but more of them are field goals. So within the red zone, I think going into that, it was like 2 red zone touchdowns all season long, which is absolutely crazy, right? So our percentage was actually better than Kansas's, meaning scoring within the red zone. However, we only had 2 TDs going into that game in the red zone. So
how many opportunities?
I don't remember how many it was.
I think
it was like 11 or something like that. That we scored 2 out of 11 TDs. Now we scored field goals, right? Which was great because our special teams again did really well.
And we scored outside the red zone a lot too.
Yeah, which is fine, right? I'm okay with that as long as we're scoring. But we've got it's been a bugaboo for us for the past probably 3 seasons is that we cannot figure out a way to score in the red zone. So it's great when you've got those big passes, explosive passes or explosive runs, right? That's what we're used to in a Scott Frost offense. He did a lot of setting people up to get to spring that explosive play. But at the same time, you've got to be able to score touchdowns within the red zone. You just have to do it. I know you can't stretch the field as much. You don't have as long for the play to develop, all of that other fun stuff that's going on, but you got to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So
it's so tough.
Well, let's look at the game because believe it or not, I think we actually had more yards than what Kansas did.
Yeah, we did.
Them.
Yeah, we outgained them. It was honestly statistically we looked pretty good. I mean, other than the passing side, but we outgained them in total yards by about 20. Obviously we outrushed them. I mean, time of possession was essentially equal. We had less penalties than them. I mean, the glaring noticeable thing is the yards, passing yards, excuse me. I mean, they had 9 yards per pass. We had just under 5. I mean, we still though we had more first downs than them. I mean, we equaled them on 4th down efficiency. They did slightly better on 3rd down, but I mean, the glaring thing for sure was the passing, just an efficiency and completion percentage. That was the big difference. Otherwise, if you look at the stats, you could look at this and think, oh, UCF probably won that game. We had 1 more yard per rush than them, less penalties, more first downs, definitely outrushed them by a lot. I mean, and the turnovers were, it was just 1. I mean, it wasn't like the turnovers.
Yeah, but it was a costly one. I mean,
it was a costly one, but it wasn't like a glaring.
That was on the 2-yard line, I think, right?
It was very costly, but it wasn't like glaring discrepancy, like, oh, we had 3 and that's, completely shot ourselves in the foot there. I mean, so.
No, I mean, the defense played sound, right? They kept us in the game.
Yeah.
When we talked about the keys to the game last week, some of my keys were we got to keep them from 4th downs, right? And we got them behind the chains enough on 3rd down that they didn't attempt as many 4th downs as they usually do. They only attempted 2. And they were successful on 1. We attempted 4 and were successful on 2. We had a lower percentage as far as 3rd down efficiency, but we had more 3rd downs than they did. And we had 21 first downs to their 15. So from a numbers perspective, the defense did its job. They wouldn't have. I'm not convinced they would have. We wouldn't have been in a tie game going into the 4th with 2 opportunities to score and win that game with touchdowns. Had that fumble not happened, right? And that was the one where Taven Jackson got injured. That 3rd quarter was abysmal. I think we had like -5 yards or something coming out of it.
0 points, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I think too. I know it was on the 1 yard line, or it was. I give the defense a lot of credit for making back-to-back 3 and outs when we pinned Kansas on the 1 yard line. Like, I know it's obviously the advantages in the defense there, but they could have easily, found a hole and got a quick first down or, gotten their 10 yards, but we pinned them. We got 3 and outs on back-to-back when the defense was tired and winded. So I think the defense did more than enough to give UCF this win.
Yeah, absolutely they did. And when we look at, to your point about the yards per attempt, we outgained them on rushing yards, 5.1 to 4.1.
Mm-hmm.
They had more penalties than what we did, as much as we talk about penalties. Now, the yardage, we lost more yardage than they did. And we had that one again where we were driving and that put us out of field goal range, right? On that one. So again, we lost points because of movement on the O-line. But at the end of the day, this team, everybody's like losing their minds. And let's talk about that real quick. Okay. Everybody's losing their freaking minds this week. Was I pissed off about this game? Yes. I was 100% pissed off about this game. The reason I was pissed off about this game is for 2 weeks in a row, this team had the talent and showed the ability to win both of them. This one, it could have very easily been 20-20 and overtime. And Cam Fancher, when he came in and they let him pass, right? Then we moved the ball down the field. The problem is you make yourselves one-dimensional. They're stacking the box and we're running right into it every time. Like, help me understand that. Like, I didn't understand that in the third. I didn't understand that. I think it was like 3 series with Cam Fancher in there where they didn't let him pass at all. They just handed the rock off. Like, you're clearly not winning that line battle. Yes, we were still 5.1 yards per attempt, but you can't, if they're going to stack the box that way, you're not going to have your way with them. The reason our yards per attempt was so low was because the successful passes that we had were short yardage passes that got them out of the box, which sprung the runs. Everybody's like, why can we run the first half? Well, the reason you can run the first half is because you're allowing your offense to throw the ball. And now Thomas went out for about a quarter and a half, which that was a whole nother thing. Again, second week in a row, they're letting people just throw our guys around. He was 20 yards. He was going backwards 20 yards before they blew the whistle. And then the guy shoved him at the end after the whistle. And then he got injured and he was out for a quarter and a half, almost 2 quarters. Right. But that was our offense. The other thing is our tight ends. Dylan Wade being out. Kylan Fox didn't have a great game this game. He had he was okay, but Dylan Wade is obviously our guy.
He's hobbled a little bit.
Huh?
He's hobbled by injury a little bit too, D Wade.
Oh, he absolutely is. He is. Caden Keening was out as well, right? So Again, our top 2 tight ends are out of the mix. And that's been a part of our game where we had success because that's another weapon that you can use. So we weren't able to use that. Thomas goes out. The first half, we had success with short yardage, getting people in space and letting them, create yak. The second half, Thomas was out. We went away from that. We went to a traditional running game. And guess what? They stacked the box the whole half. You've got to be able to, and Coach Frost said it in his presser that, and you guys said it too. He got out coached, and Ben said it too. He absolutely got out coached in the second half. All they did was stack the box.
Yeah.
We should have been able to do something other than that.
Yeah. And I mean, third quarter was horrible. I mean, like, it was egregious from play calling to execution, everything. Fourth quarter, I don't think it was as bad. Obviously, it was still bad. We didn't score any points the whole second half. But I think it's an execution thing. And again, it's like, I hate saying it, but this is what happens year one. You're going to lose. Like, it reminds me so much of 2016. It's not even funny. Like, our defense is really good. Our defense is really good. And our offense, we're waiting to figure it out. And to be honest, the quarterback play it's not great enough to overcome the limitations we have on the O-line.
I agree.
Like, even a year one McKenzie, we dealt with these kind of the same issues. Like, McKenzie, we saw the flashes. Taven Jackson, you see the flashes, but we had some issues on the O-line, and it's hard to overcome that with and it's, Taven's played, I think this is year 3 or 4, but he's still a young player. Even just
he just didn't have that many snaps. I mean,
and even the way he plays quarterback, like, he goes his first read, at least the last 2 games where I consider like quality competition. He's going through his first reads, and it's almost like, let me just dump the ball off. I think there was one play early in the game. He threw it back. Like, he was trying to get the ball out so quick. He threw it back like 5 yards.
4.8 yards per pass.
Yeah, like it was. I'm like, okay, if you're getting through there's no way you should be checking down. And maybe that's because he's hurt. I don't know. I can't pinpoint exactly. I just think those
throw the ball away at that point. You know what I mean?
And that's like that's what hobbled them in the fourth. You know, it was just the lack of execution, whether it's up front. Like I think even on one of the plays earlier in that fourth quarter, that last drive, Frost called a good play. If you go back and rewatch, like it should be blocked up to where you get a positive gain. But one missed block, I mean, I talk about it all the time, one missed block. That's the difference between an 8-yard, 10-yard pop and no game. You know, and it seems like, oh, that was a terrible call by Coach Frost. Well, they play like the replay on ESPN, and it's like, oh, our offensive line whiffed on 2 blocks, not just 1 block, like he whiffed on 2 blocks. Like that's going to happen. So I think like the play calling early, amazing. I mean, a lot of misdirection. Sadly, I think that's the best way to get our run game going is it has to be a lot of deception because our O-line just can't. You have this guy, move him out of the way. Like that's not their strength right now. And it may never be this year. So,
you know, I feel like, you know, Roger, at the, you know, beginning of this, you said, you know, the fan base is going crazy and all that. I feel like I could speak to it a little bit. I think the most frustrating part is if you told me prior to the season and didn't give me any context and said UCF was going to start 3-0 and they were going to drop their first 2 conference games against a Kansas State team that, if you recall, forget what we know now, they were projected to win the conference. They were, and they were projected to win the conference. They had number 1 odds. Then a Kansas team who we knew was game. And you said, you know, you didn't tell me how the games went. You just said UCF is going to be 3-2 after 5 games. I would have said completely understandable, completely believable, makes sense, not mad about it. But I think the issue is when you go in, you see to the Kansas State game, they're 1-3 going into the game. They lose to Army, who lost to Tarleton State. I was at that game. Their fan bases come out to us and saying things like, "Oh, you got this," and like, "Take it easy on us today." You start to feel like, all right, we're going to win this game. Then you have a chance to, you know, make that game a 1-possession game. You blow it. Then this Kansas game, very winnable. I think that's a tough part. Prior to the season, we said Kansas State, Kansas. That's a tough duo back to back, especially Kansas State being on the road. But when you now know what we know, hindsight 2020, like that we could have won both of those games and be 5-0 in a whole different world right now, that's what kills you. It's not like we got our socks blown off and we had no chance. And it's like, all right, you know, it is what it is. But when you know, especially this Kansas game, at least in the Kansas State game, for the most part, we were down most of the game. This game, we jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Then you have 4 chances to tie it up at the bounce house, at home, go into overtime and win that game. That's the killer part because you know you could have won. That I think that's the frustrating part for me and most of the fan base, why we're going crazy, because it feels like you blew a massive opportunity to gain huge ground and be so much better than we anticipated in year 1 under Frost. And I get it. It's year 1. We all said this was going to be a 6-6 type year. You got to get your players in, NIL, all this different stuff. But it kills you that you could have won at least one of these games. I mean, even right now, if we're 4-1 today, we're sky high. We're feeling amazing. And to blow that opportunity, I think is the part what really kills the fan base, especially at a time when we really need some excitement after the doldrums of the 4-year Malzahn era. This would have just been amazing to get an early conference win way in the beginning. Give us some hope, even like false hope maybe. But
you mean an October conference win? Because we haven't won one yet.
Exactly. That's the point there. Like we could have got that. And it was such an opportunity. Now you're looking, you're like, crap. We have top 10 Texas Tech on the road. We have a tough Baylor team on the road. We have a tough Cincy team on the road. Now you're essentially forced to win all of your home games just to be bowl eligible with pretty much no mistakes. This would have given us a leg up where it's like, all right, we're 4-1. Now you can maybe, you know, if you could drop a game. Now we're pretty much in our backs against the wall. We either have to go steal one on the road and all of our toughest games are there, or we have to win out at home, which I know is doable, but you never know. So it feels like we blew a golden opportunity to really have a leg up. And I think that's the part that kills me and the fan base, if I speak for them.
So you wanted the Golden Knights and we just got the Knights, but let's talk about that for a second. Right. As far as the expectations game is concerned, when we did the preseason, most of us were around 4-8 with the ceiling being a 6-6 team that goes to a bowl game. That's what we said. I do think that K-State is worse than we anticipated. I will say that the defense, we also said at the beginning that the defense is going to keep us in games and that they were good enough to keep us in games. And so far, in my opinion, even with them, and we'll talk about, the ref situation. I know you guys don't like to talk about that, but I'm sorry. But when you're tackling the defensive line in the K-State game all game long, to the point that Scott Frost actually got after the Big 12 for that, that's a problem. But this game, Kansas, we held them to 27 points and we gave them a touchdown by having the fumble on the 2-yard line. Right? So really, this defense held them to 20 points. This is a Kansas team that is one of the top-rated offenses in the country. They just got done in a boat race between Cincinnati and one of the hottest offenses, which sucks for this week, but one of the hottest offenses in the conference, 600-yard games, right?
To their season low. They haven't scored under 30 all season, Kansas.
Exactly. So that's my point, though. And realistically, we held them 10 points under their average. We controlled Daniels, and that was one thing that we were going to have to do, which we said in the keys of the game. So we did that. We said we had to keep them in long third down so that they wouldn't try it on fourth. We did that. We got the ball to our offense. Time of possession was almost perfectly even, 29-59 to 30-01. We outgained them. So when we outran them, which is a team that excels at running. So I think the frustrating part for me as a fan, so taking my podcasting hat off right now and thinking about it as a fan in game, watching this team play, I told you last week and I'm going to tell you again, this team is good enough to win these games. There's enough talent on the field and they're executing enough to win. They're just not getting over the hump. So it doesn't help. Well, it doesn't help when you have 3 quarterbacks that have gone out with injury throughout the season, right? Your top 3 quarterbacks have gone out. None of them have played consistently. Because I don't like saying this team has played well enough to win those games. And to your point, Alan, I think that's what's more frustrating than anything.
The most frustrating.
However, at the same time, it also gives me hope for the rest of the season that bowl season might still be attainable. I do think if you look at OSU, I wish we had caught Colorado this year. Of course we didn't. But we've got OSU this year, right?
West Virginia.
And we've got West Virginia this year. So those are, I think, 2 wins. We had to take one more, and I think this was one we could have taken. I think if we took this game, which our defense played them well enough for us to win, I think we absolutely would have solidified our ticket to a bowl season, which I think the fan base would have been ecstatic about.
And 100%. It's just the fashion that we lost. And I mean, I'll beat a dead horse here again, but like, it's just that we could have won is the most frustrating. And I think the one other aspect in my mind that plays a big factor here, despite everything we've already talked about, we know the limitations. We know we've had 3 injuries at quarterback. We know it's rebuilding. We know we have 70 new players. We know all that. We know we have a new coach. But I think what also kills me a little bit too, and a lot of the fan base, is that you look at BYU, Cincy, and Houston, and they're a combined 13-2 right now. And I get it. They have more money. They were built in more money. They've been around. I get all that. But you're talking about 3 other programs that were group of 5 with us for a very long time. We were in Cincy and Houston's conference for a very, very long time. To see them, have this type of turnaround, especially when you talk about year 1 of the Big 12, who was the only bowl eligible team? UCF. Who had the best record year 1? UCF. To see that and not be able to build on that, and then go see BYU be back-to-back ranked, and they're right now in first place in the conference. To see Cincinnati, who I would say, that's a school we've had a rivalry with. They've been on equal footing as us for a long time. To see them 4-1, 2-0, and then to see Houston 4-1, 1-1 in the conference, all ahead of us, and maybe Houston's a pretender, but when you really see Cincy especially make this jump that they've looked, I mean, they look good in conference so far. They've beaten Kansas. Their only loss is a narrow loss to Nebraska. You look at their stats, they're number 2 in offense in the conference. That I think also plays into this. Like if they were below us or struggling as much as us, I'd be like, all right, hey, this is kind of like, still early on in the transition. Like, there's going to be some growing pains and some bumps and bruises. But when you see that on top of that, regardless of the financial circumstances, and you just look at it from the prism of we were all in the same stage, same conference 3 years ago together, I think that hurts a little bit more.
Well, I will say this, as of last year and as of the budgets that were out there, UCF was middle to low middle of the conference.
I get it. Yeah.
And that was with $18 million a year, right? And then conference revenue that we got last year. This year will be up to 41. Our budget as a program will be in the upper third or mid to upper third of the conference starting when the payout happens in July. Now we get quarterly payouts, right? But that budget will catch up. That being said,
but doesn't everyone in the conference get the budget?
Yes, but remember, they all had more money, and we're finally catching up because ours is a shoestring budget, right?
Would they still have more money than us? I mean, because if they're getting a 2 plus the money they already have currently, why would we? Wouldn't it just be they're getting more money and we're getting more money, but they're getting more money? It's the same kind of thing.
Think about what I just said though. Last year in 2024, we were in the upper, like the middle of the conference, only making 18 million.
Upper? You're talking about upper in what sense? Standings, or what are you talking about?
The program. The budget for the program was in the middle of the conference with us only making 18 million. They were already making more than we were from the TV revenue. Right. So now we get bumped up to 41, 42 million. And then by the end of it, it'll be around 50 million with the rest of the stuff that we have coming in as a disbursement, which means that we will be moving up as far as relative to budget because ours went up way more than what theirs did. So
does that go to NIL?
No. The school can't pay for NIL. NIL is its own thing. You've got rev share that's $20 million or $22 million, whatever it is, and it's got to be 20%. You can't spend over 20%. The cap is no more than 20% of the TV revenue, right? So everybody's going to be on an even keel as far as that's concerned. NIL has changed as well because now each one of those NIL contracts are being reviewed if it's over $600. That wasn't happening last year. A bunch of
what does that get? The new money, where does it go?
Let me finish. So what that means is that we're on an even playing field as far as the TV conference revenue is concerned. The NIL is still a separate thing. Texas Tech is still going to have a bigger bankroll than what we are, right? No matter what. They're going to be able to pay $1.8 million to Lee Hunter. To Lee Hunter, right? They also front-loaded a lot of these contracts because they knew the new changes were going to be taking place in July 1st. So that will even out some too. So a lot of those bigger contracts won't be as big for the NIL, and they'll be more heavily regulated. So that should balance some of that out and bring us closer together. But as far as overall budget is concerned, we were already in the middle of the conference. So this should move us up relative to our peers in the conference because we're going to be making almost $30 million more than we did last year.
But they're still going to be able to have more NIL budget than us.
Yeah, but they won't be able to spend as much anymore. They front loaded a lot of those to get those players so that they got those contracts up front because the rules changed on July 1st. We talked about that on the podcast. So Texas Tech, for example, spent $55 million in NIL contracts. They're not going to be able to do that next year. So they front loaded a bunch of those so that they get those players and for a longer period of time because they could still spend that amount. So that's going to change because the rules for NIL has changed and they're being reviewed. That being said, UCF will be, I guess my point overall is from a budget perspective, UCF will be more competitive next year after July 1st, once the payouts come in, than they have been since they've been in the Big 12, relative to Cincinnati, BYU, and everybody else. BYU is going to have more money than UCF because they're affiliated with the LDS Church. It's just going to happen. They're nationwide. They're all over the place.
But so what does that mean? They get money from the church and that can go to NIL, or where does that go to?
They can go to anywhere they want to spend the money. But yeah, and NIL would be a piece of that, right? They just
So if any school, even if it's Arizona State, they just get some big guy to come in and give unlimited money, then it can go to NIL? It
could, as long as it fits in the NIL rules. What they can't do anymore is, here's a perfect example with Houston, with Tillman Fertitta coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to go buy Houston a roster, and they all of a sudden have a 5-star quarterback on their roster, right? Which this year, people forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
That was bought by Tillman Fertitta through NIL. They can't do that anymore. Now they're going to have to tie it back to actual contracts to companies. So one person can't go out and buy a roster anymore. Same thing Texas Tech did. They had their billionaire come in, their newer billionaire, and he came in and he bought the roster. He said, here's $55 million. Go make us competitive. And you saw what happened. That can't happen anymore. It's being regulated. So again,
I guess how much is it being regulated? I guess
anything over $600 has to be approved by the NCAA.
I just feel like the rich are going to stay rich though. Like I don't see
they are going to stay rich, but the difference is it's going to swing that balance again and move it closer to what it was. The other thing that it's going to do, the rich are still going to be able to do things like build facilities, right? So UCF right now, they've got the only reason we're able to build the tower is because of the TDT. It didn't come from our fan base, right? It didn't come from pieces of it, like the Hagel Gateway and all of that stuff. We had pieces of that come from that, but we don't have anybody that's swinging around $300 million for us to upgrade our stadiums. Kansas just did a $300 million upgrade. Ours is $89 million. So that's nothing to sneeze at for UCF, right? But that is a difference. They just won't be able to buy rosters anymore. It should be more competitive. Again, also, short year for Scott Frost. He hadn't played the NIL game. We didn't have a general manager at the time to do the roster management, negotiate all of that. He was trying to bring in coaches at the same time. So did we get our best NIL roster? No. Right? And our boy Gus, who just lost again. I told you he was going to lose to Miami.
I called that from the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So Gus took some of our peeps up there to FSU too. So that put us at a disadvantage. Now you've got one portal, by the way. That's another change this year. There's no more 2 portals. So you got one portal. And so basically when you get that roster, you've got them for the year, which we didn't have. You had people stopping 3-4 games in so that they could get another swing at the portal later in the year. So
I do think that helps a lot as far as for everybody, just the roster construction.
It's been a mess, but at the end of the day, relative to Cincy and BYU is going to have more money. They just are, right? Yeah. Houston has money in one guy. The difference between SMU and Houston, SMU's got a ton of people that can spend Tillman Fertitta money, right? And so they can have all of their companies spread that around a little bit for the NIL. So they'll be able to give more than what someone like Houston will, right? Texas Tech's not going to be able to do what they were doing anymore. Part of the reason why Mike Gundy was fired at Oklahoma State was because he didn't participate in it, and they didn't raise funds for it at all, right? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I didn't mean to make this into a NIL conversation or whatever. My point is we're going to be more competitive for rosters next year. That's number one. Number two, as far as this season goes, I went into it. I think I said I can't remember if I said 4-8 or 5-7, something.
I think you said 5-7. I think Andrew said 4-8.
Yeah, with a ceiling was like I think 6 wins.
Yeah,
and maybe whatever. Okay, cool. we knew this was going to be what it was. I think what's frustrating for people, and Alan, this is what we were talking about, is we're this close. And so after K-State, and then I said what? I said this team is good enough to win more games. They showed it again in Kansas. I think losing Jackson in the middle of the game hurt. And I think that Scott Frost was a little gun shy with Cam throwing the ball out there in the second half. And when he finally let him do it, then we move the ball. We have to have the ability. We cannot become one-dimensional. Even if you throw an interception, that's better than running 3 and outs and putting your defense back out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I 1,000% agree. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the fan base, I can't speak for the fan. I don't know what the expectations were. I think all of us up here kind of tempered them for the reasons we're seeing now. Like, it's not like this is all of Coach Frost guys. This is a lot of carryover from Gus, and he's trying to get guys to buy in. And like you said, he missed the first portal, I believe. It was really, really, really late. So it's a makeshift roster. This isn't, to me, just, again, I was just surprised with the culture. That's what I said mostly. This team last year, when this adversity hit, would have probably lost 41-10.
I agree.
14.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Or I think 41-20. We had 20. Like that would have been, once the ball gets rolling downhill, it keeps going. These guys are fighting.
Last year.
Yeah, like that was it. Like, these guys are fighting. Did it come out the way we wanted it? No. But I can say till the end, defense bowed up. Last year I would be like, all right, defense, make a stop. And what did we talk about? They ran the ball down our throat all game. Like, that was how we lost so many games. You can't do that this year. Nobody's really done that this year. I think we're a top 10 passing yards allowed. And the defense is playing well, and offense isn't quitting either.
The defense is playing well, and the scheme is going well. Grinch has these guys communicating.
Yep. And
they're showing multiple looks.
Yep. Which you have.
And they're maintaining the edges for the most part, which we didn't have last year. And that's coaching.
I think Trey, how many times did you mention last year and you said that some of your former teammates, ex-UCF players used to say, like, we see nothing on the sidelines. We see no leadership, all that. Like, this year, you could tell there's a brotherhood, there's a culture back, and that matters so much. I mean, how much is that talked about for the 17 and 18 teams that had that camaraderie and that chemistry and that unity? And you feel like that's coming back, and which is encouraging regardless of the result, which I will say. And then agreed, the fight is there. I mean, there's so many times last year and the year before under Gus where we were in the game for some of it. A couple little things went wrong, and then the snowball and the avalanche came. And now this year, we've kept both games very competitive. I hate the whole moral victory thing, but I mean, you look at the year one against Kansas in the Big 12, we lost 51-22.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that even that Kansas game in 2020, Kansas State game in 2023, it was only a 13-point difference, but that they were dominating us all game. That was our first conference or Big 12 conference game. So, I mean, these felt a lot more competitive and they felt winnable. I mean, the fact that a Kansas State fans came up to me and said, take it easy on us today. And I know they were 1-3, but it shows a difference. And also, I do think that it is really encouraging seeing the fight of this team. And they're saying that in press conferences. You listen to Taven Jackson, if you listen to Frost, if you listen to a lot of the players, they're saying hey, we got to bounce back. We got to fight. And sure, some of it may be coach speak or player speak, but I think you could really tell that they believe they have a chance and they are not just giving in and folding at moments. I mean, it's been just in general, outside of a couple moments against Kansas State, every game this season has been fun and competitive to watch. Every game, it wasn't over by the, second or third quarter and we're running boring offense, all centered around RJ Harvey and hoping he breaks one off, right? This has been a lot more fun, exciting watching. Even the defense too, that's been fun to watch them just kind of be very stout and get 3 and outs and get turnovers and things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, even when you talk to, go ahead, Roger.
No, I was just going to say, to me, everything you just said just shows that this team is capable of winning these games. Yeah. They are better. I think what it is I think they are better than we thought they were. offensively, and they have the capacity to win these games. The defense is performing like we expected them to, right? And all of those people a couple weeks ago that were questioning Grinch is doing a great job with this defense, guys. And if you can't tell that this is a better defense than we've had the past 3 years, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I said it, like, I talked to guys who coached with him at his previous stops. The reason these things went bad was because he had some guys making more money than him that are like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm going to do what I want. And that is a problem. If you have guys that just aren't playing sound defense, but they're making $800,000 and you can't take them off the field, like, your hands are tied to the coach. That's just the reality of it. And they all said when he has sound players and guys buy in, it's produce a good defense. It's not, Kirby Smart, amazing defense, but you don't need amazing defense. I mean, as you've seen, you don't need an amazing defense for us to be 5-0 right now. And I think this season is going to mirror 2016. Like, I look back at 2016 and even the 2017 guys, we talk about it. Like, we won 6 games, but we felt like we should have won 9 or 10 of them. Like, we were that good talent-wise, but execution, and then you revert into some bad habits, and that's what happens in a coaching change. That's just, those are the things. It's not like it's not like we're on the field like, okay, this team is just more talented than us. Like, it hasn't been the case in 5 games, and it felt like that last year. When we played Kansas last year, I was like, I don't know if they're just better coached or they might just be more talented. Like, it felt overwhelming, and it hasn't felt like that yet.
Yeah, and you look, that 16 season is very similar. Like, there was a lot of close losses. Like, we lost that Temple game by 1. I remember that Houston game. We had to lead the whole freaking game.
Yeah, we're winning 24-3 at halftime.
Yeah, and then we lose that by a touchdown. I mean, there was a lot of games that
that was payback for 2013 is what that was.
That was. Trey, do you think the 2016 team was like just pure talent is better than this team right now? Because I think there were more. I think there were NFL players. I think there were more NFL players on that team. 100% there was.
I think they probably were more talented, just because, like, we were young. Like, at least in where our elite, like, what ended up being elite players. Like, Jordan Akins turned out to be a freaking monster. Like, he was good.
Jalen Atkins.
Yeah. Traquan, we knew he was a beast. Cam Stewart, Snelson, like, all these guys flashed 2016, Adrian, like, all these guys, they were just young. So we were like, when they get some time and it just slows down for them. I mean, Roger, we talk about all the time, it takes time for football to slow down for you. They're going to be explosive players, but yeah, I mean, defensively, I mean, look, we had Shaquille.
There's like 9 NFL players on this team I'm counting right now. At least some that at least played some NFL.
Yeah, well, we were probably more talented than this team just off that hoof, and we lost games just from, again.
Well, let's talk about that. Who those players are on this team? To me, Dylan Wade is a junior, so you can kind of say that, not really, right? But Caden Peening, who was a highly rated tight end, absolutely. Say that about that. Tavion Swint, which we haven't seen very much yet because he's been injured.
We can't say they're NFL players. We haven't seen them play yet.
I think that Tavion Swint, I've seen him play high school, that him and Stacey Gage have a very real chance of doing that. The only reason
you never know, like, a career arc could take so many different routes.
As I said, what players that we have potentially, right?
Yeah.
So I have seen Caden Peening play. On the wide receivers, I think that's a big one there too. Obviously,
I don't think there's a single wide receiver on this team that's going pro. I mean, I'm sorry, like, that we've seen play. Sorry, I should say. I don't know about the freshmen. Maybe that's different.
I think like William Charles is pretty good.
William Charles, yeah,
he's pretty good. I'm not saying he's an NFL guy because, like, I can't tell it. I don't see him like, for me to say it, I saw these guys in practice every day. Like, I saw their work habits. I saw Gabe Davis before we all saw Gabe Davis. Like, I don't see that every day. I just go what I see on Saturday. Like, that's all I can see. Right now, I think he's a really good player. He's a freshman. He's young. I think the skill guys are talented, to be honest with you. I think they are.
But going to the NFL is so like there's been so many years like, and I look back at like some of the predictions I made. Like, there's so many times where I'm thinking there's so many guys that are NFL eligible, and at a great year for UCF in the draft is 4 guys. Great year. On a lot of years, it's 1 or 2. So you have to think about how many other schools there are and how many slots there are. And yes, there is the route of like undrafted free agent, but I remember thinking guys from the 2017. I'm like, for sure are going pro. Like some of that defensive linemen and stuff. Like Jemias Pittman didn't even get drafted. You know what I mean?
But remember,
just saying.
But let's talk about wide receivers. Day Farmer, he was killing it before he got injured. I think he's a guy.
He's a good player.
Waden Charles, I think, has a good chance of that as well. Carl Jenkins Jr., another freshman, I think he has a good chance based on what he's been playing, even as a freshman. Burdell Richardson, I don't know what happened to him. I doubt he's on the roster. I doubt he's on the roster next year. Jordan Bridgewater is one to look out for. But yeah, to me, if I look at this, Day Farmer, Jenkins, and Charles, all 3, and they're all 3 freshmen, have the ability to be those kind of players that we see develop. Caden Peening, the tight end, I think he's another guy that could develop into that. As far as the running backs are concerned, Stacey Gage and Tavion Swint, I still think those guys develop into potential NFL players. As far as the defense is concerned,
I think the only Sherlock NFL player on UCF's roster right now is Nigella Kelly. That's the only person like guaranteed record. Like, I feel confident. Like, I don't like Tavion Swint. Sure, you saw his high school tape, but like so many 4 stars flame out and do nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Nigella Kelly's gonna play on. Like, he's getting drafted.
That's the only person I think that's drafted from this
high-end,
this
second
year. Round
pick, maybe fringe first guy or a 4th round. I don't know that variant, but he's going to get. He will. I can 99% guarantee he gets his name.
He's the only person on this team this year that I think gets drafted, like this upcoming NFL draft, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sincere Edwards, I don't think he's tall enough for an edge.
Measurables. A lot of them is just measurable issues.
I think he's good enough from a talent perspective, but he's not. He's 6'3". If he wasn't 6'3", if he was 6'5", I would say he'd probably make it at edge because he
a great college player for us.
Yeah, I think Antoine Jackson's. He's a really good player.
Horace Locket might be able to do that. The Georgia Tech transfer. He's a junior.
John Walker. Well, if you're talking just strictly this year, then yeah. But
I think John Walker, everybody's like, where's John Walker? Dude, he's getting double teamed every freaking game.
Yeah.
And when you take someone who's disruptive like Horace Locket out of it, then guess what? They can do that.
And he's coming back from injury. I think we have to remember that about John Walker.
He's his best game, in my opinion, his best play will be towards the end of the year when he's like, all right, I'm healthy, and then go into the next year.
I think Bellamy and Bell, they're juniors this year, so they're not going next year or this year, right? But I think those guys are potential NFL guys.
But I mean, to answer your question, our team in 2016 is probably more talented than these guys at this state. I mean, we talk about all the time. Coach O'Leary knew how to recruit, and
he did.
Especially back like guys who were under recruited. He was one of the best in the country at doing that.
Hey, your boy Coach your boy Coach Franklin that was recruiting you just went down this weekend too. Just saying.
They got.
Aren't you glad you aren't playing for him? Anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and swiv it. We have not talked about Cincinnati yet, and we're like an hour in, but it was a good conversation. End of the day, I guess what I'm saying is this team, I think, is better than we thought they were, right? And I think they're not executing and finishing, and that's why people are frustrated because the low expectations we had at the beginning of the season, they saw it change, and then now it's not coming through, and
but this is the realism of it. Like execution is what winning teams execute.
They execute, yeah. Can I ask one question before we move on? What about the QB situation? If we Like, who? Let's say Ja'Curry is back next week.
Ja'Curry will not start over Cam, but he can't throw a ball to save his
Okay,
life.
so do you?
Agreed.
Let's say, all right, forget Brown then. Let's say Fancher is obviously an option, and then Taven Jackson. Let's say he is healthy. His X-rays were negative, which Coach Frost said after the game. Who do you want starting if Jackson is healthy? I mean, Fancher, not saying he looked amazing or anything, but he had a couple decent moments there. Are we still confident that we want Taven, if healthy, against Cincy?
I don't know what you mean by if healthy, because he's not healthy. He's not going to be healthy next week.
Okay,
it's going to be like a 70% or 80%.
He's deemed available.
Well, he's going to be available. Is it a 70 or 80% Jackson? I think that's what you're asking.
I guess who starts?
Yeah, I would rather have a Cam Fancher. Well, mind you, I'm assuming Cam Fancher's healthy from his.
He's got it
by now for about a month. You know, he injured his back or something. I think he's healthy. If he's healthy and Taven is limited, I would take Cam. If we can open the playbook,
let him throw.
Yeah, just let him throw. I would take that Cam. If Taven's healthy 100% or 90% and Cam's 90%, I'm going to take 90% Taven just from what I've seen, because the ball, it looks better. You know, it's not amazing. Like, wow, this is better.
Yeah, it looks more confident throwing.
Yeah, it's confident throwing. It's confident. The ball looks like it's coming off his hand better. And when he knows what he's doing, when he knows where he's going, it's a lot more confident, a lot more efficient. But again, you could, like, I think we all agree, he was kind of hobbled. Even when he was in the game early, it's not like he was really pushing the ball downfield a lot like he had been the previous games. It was a lot more, get the ball out quickly. And that could just been to protect him.
Yeah, I think for me, I take an 80% Jackson over a Cam Fancher. I'm not impressed with him at all. I think he did some. I think he did some things. He did some things this game, but their defense wasn't prepared for him. So I think I take an 80% Jackson over 100% Cam Fancher.
Keep DeNovo vibes from Cam Fancher. I'm not gonna lie.
No, DeNovo couldn't throw it that far. So
Cam can throw. Cam can throw.
He can throw, but like I just feels like he was anointed like the starter and blah blah blah, and it was like he's clearly not the most. I think he's at best the third most talented quarterback on this roster overall package.
It depends on what. I don't think. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Fancher.
He doesn't throw.
I know, but neither does Ja'Curry. He throws it 50% of the time. He completes a pass.
I'll take his Justin Holman rockets and his legs.
Yeah. Dude, he throws way. He fumbles too much and throws too many picks. Turnovers kill you more than anything else.
Sounds like Mackenzie Milton year one. No, just kidding. No, just kidding.
No, it ain't even close, bro.
But Ja'Curry is talented. He's talented.
Right, so hot take. As of right now, yes or no answer, but in the interest of time. Do you think UCF goes bowling this year, Alan?
No.
Trey?
Yes.
Roger?
I'm gonna break the tie, and I'm gonna say yes. As long as we get Jack.
Lukewarm, yes.
No, because it's one game. I think we can get one in the Big 12. The defense is good enough to have one game bounce our way, as long as the refs aren't like allowing the entire defense to be tackled at the line of scrimmage.
Although my prediction is 5 wins. Although, and I forgot that you can technically go bowling at 5 wins. So I'm gonna say we're not gonna hit 6, the supposed mandatory minimum eligibility. But I guess if we get there for 5, yippee!
All right, get there in 5. All right, preview the Cincy game. Let's talk about these Cincinnati Bear Kittens. We were trying to get the guys from exactly. We were trying to get the guys from Catskiller to come on, and I don't know what's going on with them. They've just kind of disappeared. So I'm going to give them
1.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a that for that. Wow, that's a really long slide. Okay. So they just came off of a game, beat ISU, Iowa State 38-30. We were all
Iowa State.
Yeah, we were kind of like, okay, what's going on with Iowa State? So I went back and took a look. They are missing both of their starting defensive backs, number 1 and number 2 defensive backs. And Soresby is doing a great job. They've got a great quarterback who can throw the ball pretty well. So the key to Cincinnati for us is definitely going to be getting into the backfield with Soresby. He likes to hang back there, and he will throw the long ball. I think our defensive backs are better than what Iowa State's are right now, simply because they're missing both of their top two defensive backs.
Since he's got good receivers too, don't forget that.
They do have good receivers, but I think now that we've gotten Bell back, I think we have pretty good defensive backs as well. If you look at statistically speaking, Soresby he's got 1,257 yards through the air, 66% passing, and he's averaging 9.5. That tells you that he's going to throw the long bomb. He's got 12 TDs, 1 interception. Interception. That's a new category. 1 sack. I don't know what is SYL. That's a new one for me this year. I don't know what that stands for.
No idea. I don't even look at stats, to be honest.
It's negative 11, whatever that means.
Sack yardage lost.
What's that?
Sack yardage lost.
Okay, so he had a big sack. He's going to stand in the pocket and move around and trying to get the ball downfield. So as long as and at times with Kansas, Daniels and Kansas had good receivers too. There were times where Daniels was running around there and our defensive backs were sticking on them. I gave in our text talk, I gave our defensive backs a hard time in the third quarter because I saw some of them just not trying to tackle. They stopped mid-play. And I think that gets cleaned up this week.
Lazy. Yeah. I agree.
As far as the running backs are concerned, you've got a two-headed monster here in Walker and Pryor. Walker is averaging 9.1 yards per carry, which is crazy. Pryor is, and Walker is averaging 5.6. So Pryor's got 301 yards. He's their big play back. Walker's got 313 yards. He's going to be the guy who carries the rock most of the time. So as far as wide receivers are concerned, look out for Goody. He's their main long bomb guy. He's averaging 22. He's averaging 22 yards per catch. Allen is going to be the guy, not our Allen, but C. Allen from Cincinnati is going to be getting the vast majority of the targets. He's got 295 yards, 11.3 average, and a 44 long, 5 TDs. So those are the guys to kind of look out for there. Their tight ends, I don't think they use them as much. Royer is going to be the one that they're going to use the most. He's been targeted 14 times for 182 yards and a 13-yard average. So, and 3 TDs. So where he's going to be used is the red zone, and that's really what you got to look out for with them. As far as the defense is concerned, they've got 6 forced fumbles, 2 of which have been recovered this year. So that is something we're going to have to look out for. Interceptions, their secondary has gotten nothing. So we've got to hold on to the ball. We got to get after Soresby. As far as who they are, they're averaging 41 points per game. This is a potent offense, right? They are also 37.5% on third down percentage, which anytime you get close to 40, that's a pretty good team. So if we can keep their third down percentage low, we'll be okay. But they do go for it on fourth down. They're at about 78% on fourth down too. So again, very similar to what we faced against Kansas. As far as attempts, they're a fairly balanced team, 156 rushing attempts versus 141. So they are going to rush the ball about 50% of the time. So they're gonna mix it up. They're gonna keep you guessing a little bit as far as that's concerned. And as far as penalties are concerned, they're averaging about 66 yards per game, and they have 37 penalties already. So that's actually a significant number of penalties. And they've lost 3 fumbles as well. So, as far as Cincinnati is concerned, what you're going to see, look out for Soresby. They've got some pretty good wide receivers. I think our defensive backs can play well enough to kind of hold on to their main 2 receivers. They've got a 2-headed monster as far as running backs are concerned. However, the defense is our strength. The problem that we're going to have, and as far as how Cincy ranks defensively, they don't have a great defense. So if we get Jackson back, we will have opportunities to score against Cincinnati. Kansas did as well. Now, is our offense as good as Kansas? No, but our defense is good enough to keep us in the game that if we have some modicum of decent offense, we can make this a game. So as difficult as this looks going into this week, I think there's an opportunity there for us. Now, Cincy is the 3rd in total yards, so they are a very potent offense. Number 5 in passing and rushing yards, but again, that's our strength. And they're also number 3 in sacks, but their total defense is not great. It's average, right? So I think we have a good defense. The problem for us defensively for Cincinnati is going to be, can our offensive line and our running backs protect our quarterback, whoever that's going to be. And I'm hoping it's Jackson. So overall, that's kind of what you're looking at. Cincinnati is a good team this year, largely behind Soresby. Soresby has been a much better quarterback than people were anticipating. He was expected to be a good quarterback, but not as good as he has been.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they get paid. I mean, in the NFL, the most money. If your quarterback is elite, you go back and look at even most of our best years recently have kind of hinged on the quarterback play, and I think that's just how the game's turning. I mean, you argue our best years were with McKenzie Milton at the helm, Heisman votes, and Blake Bortles. I'm not sure if he got Heisman votes, but runaway conference player of the year, runaway best player in the conference, arguably. That's been our best years that I can, at least in the last decade. And yeah, that's just what happens. You can have a great roster, you can have really talented players around the quarterback, but if the quarterback is kind of lackluster, it kind of puts a ceiling on you on how good you can be. Again, especially in the Big 12, Power 4, because everybody's going to have really good rosters for the most part. The X factor tends to be the quarterback, and Soresby playing really good football, which is why, since he's playing really good football, you look at Houston, they're playing really good football because their quarterback's playing some good. Wegman, I think he's an A&M transfer. He's playing really good football. That's kind of where it leans. And right now, our quarterback situation's been up and down, up in the air, just injuries, whatever it's been. So it's kind of why you're getting that up and down offensive play.
Well, it's not consistent, right? The big thing that I will say with Cincinnati is that 41 average is a little skewed. And the reason I'm going to say that is they've got a 70-0 win against Northwestern State.
Very inflated.
So if we go back and look against a defense, a decent defense in Nebraska, your quasi alma mater, they lost 20-17. They beat Bowling Green 34-20, so nothing special there. 34 points is overcomable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not if we throw away a half of football. I mean, we had 20 points in the first half, right? Northwestern State 70-0, played Kansas 37-34. So again, defensively not great. And then beat Iowa State 38-30 with so again, when you look at statistically, they're going to average around 350 yards passing, right? And they're going to average about 75 to 80 yards. About a little over 100 yards rushing. Now, against Iowa State, Soresby only passed for 214 yards, and they rushed for 111. They have the ability to run the ball. They have the ability to hold the ball. It's going to be a time of possession game. I think our defense is good enough to hold it closer than what most people think. So,
I think I saw there was a stat like our secondary is like top 10 in the country in pass yards per game. Like something's gonna have to bend, like either they're gonna throw all over or we're gonna limit them. Like that 340, if they throw for 340, it's not good. That's not good. But
I don't think they're going to be able to. I think we're going to get the pressure, and I think our defensive backs are good enough to keep them from doing that. Yeah. So Soresby, I think he's a young guy. Isn't he a freshman, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, I think he's a freshman. So, we can make him make. No, he's a junior. Actually, I'm sorry, 6'3", 235-yard junior. We can make him make mistakes. Let's just put it that way. He will make mistakes. He's been pretty consistent. In October, the weird thing is his completion percentage has been 52%. At home, though, it's 65%. So he plays a lot better at home than he does away. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for UCF is playing away at Cincinnati. If we were playing at home, I'd like our chances a lot more. Okay. So for me, the keys to the game. Let's talk about the keys to the game for this week, right? For me, the keys to the game are, can UCF slow down the passing game, and can we get pressure on Soresby? And can we keep a quarterback upright? That's really it. I think if we do those two things, then I think we'll have a good shot at least making it competitive, if not winning the game. We proved that we were good enough with Kansas, and this feels like a Kansas type team that I think our defense can key in and potentially win. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and swim it one more time to the, sorry, Alan. Let's try that again. Swim it one more time.
With it.
There we go. To the pick your poison score prediction of the week. All right. So last week, let's recap real quick. The big winner was Allen. He had 30-20 Kansas. Ben had 28-24 UCF, 18 points off. I was off by 20 at 34-28 UCF. Wasn't that far off, actually. Josh, 31-30 UCF. He was off by 14. Trey, you were off by 18 points last week, 31-27. And AP, 31-24 Kansas was off by 8. So
I win.
That week, yes, but not for the season. All right. Let's keep it rolling this week for week 7. All right. I guess we'll start with Trey. Trey, what is your score prediction for this week?
I'm going to go with the good guys this week. I don't feel too confident with the quarterback situation up in flux, getting hurt again. But I think we can pull through. I think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go 28-24 UCF.
All right, Trey with 28-24 UCF. Alan?
Well, gotta go with my gut here, and I'm gonna go 31-20 Cincinnati.
Oof.
Sorry.
All right. You and Josh are not going to be at the game, right?
No, I won't be at the game.
All right, good. All right. Andrew, he texted in. His pick is 34-20 Cindy. And so for me, I'm going to say, let's see, what am I going to say? I haven't got a chance to think about this yet. I'm going to say that it's going to be, I think we're going to hold Cincinnati below their average. So I think
they're averaging 39 points a game, just second in the conference.
Right. Yeah, but look at the competition they did it against, right? So,
horrible.
So I think I'm going to go 30. I'm not going to go 30. I'm going to go 28-24 UCF.
Wow. And also we just put it out there. The spread right now is 11.5 for Cincy, minus 11.5. Our biggest
Down. That's actually down from it opened at 13.
Correct. So that's the biggest spread we've had against us all year, because Kansas State was 4.5. Kansas was started at 5.5, dropped to like 3.5. So this is by far the biggest spread all year.
Ooh. All right, let's go ahead and swiv it one more time.
Swiv it.
To other UCF news, Scott Frost announced that we alluded to it earlier, that defensive lineman Horace Locket is out for the season. He's had he tore his pectoral muscle in the K-State game. They didn't know about it until after they came back, so he must have been in pain, but he won't be back this season. Hopefully we get him back next season. He should be able to medically redshirt, which would mean we get 2 years of Horace Locket. Let's go ahead and, as we check in on the ranked teams, the Big 12 still maintaining 4 ranked teams. Texas Tech went up. Obviously, the bottom fell out of Iowa State. I think they were down 9 ranking spots. We have West Virginia was announced at 1 p.m. on TNT, and I'll just share this with you guys because this is what's actually in the game or in the notes from Alan. Alan says, WTF question mark. I agree with you there.
What the hell's going on there?
Yeah, exactly. So going back to the conference right now, UCF is in the bottom 4th of the conference. Kind of where they said that we were going to be. BYU leads the conference right now 2-0. They are ranked number 18. Texas Tech, they are tied for first, ranked number 9. Arizona State, 4-1, ranked number 21. Then it's the Bear Kittens. After that, it's the Iowa State Cyclones because they have 1 conference loss at number 22. Then it's Baylor, who's now 4-2. Kansas, who's now 4-2. That could have been us, folks. Arizona at 4-1. Houston at 4-1. TCU at 4-1. Utah at 4-1. And it's K-State 2-4. Us at 3-2. Oklahoma State 1-4, Colorado 2-4. Man, they're terrible this year. And then West Virginia rounding out the conference. So that's where it stands today. To your point, Alan, huge missed opportunity there as far as where we were going to, what we could have done. And I think this team is good enough too if we wouldn't have made the mistakes that we made. All right. Next. Let's go ahead and swiv it yet again. Swiv it to listener love. This week, Savannah fan checks in and says, I'd rather have a rebuilding team with a losing record than a Gus team that just doesn't have any spirit. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Yeah.
It was so deflating watching Gus Malzahn football. Like, I was so over it by year 3, and then year 4, it just was like it. After that TCU game, I still felt like I was like, the collapse is coming. The 3-0 this year, I was more excited about the 3-0 start this year, thinking we could go 4-1, maybe 5-0. And as we've talked about for the last 2 hours, we had that opportunity. We had no chance against Colorado in game 4 last year. We had no chance against pretty much the entire conference all year. There was a couple games we were sort of in, but like the Iowa State game or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I would rather watch anything but a lifeless Gus Malzahn team. So yeah, I think this is still much more preferable. I mean, I felt as soon as we lost our first game last year to Colorado, I thought the year was over. This year, I'm like, we could still make a bowl game. I think it's possible. I know I predicted 5-7, but I still feel much more optimistic about the rest of the year than I did after that Colorado game last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. That 3-0 when we lost to Colorado, I literally was like, where do we find 6 wins? Like where? And that was after Colorado game, because it's just the way we had played up to that point. I'm like, it was luck, This year I was like, again, it's like, I wouldn't even necessarily say culture, just the play style. It looks a lot more balanced. The defense looks like it looks like they're playing real football. Do they make mistakes? Yeah, they're making mistakes. We see the execution isn't where we want it to be, but they're playing the brand of football that you can project and be like, I could see us, if not this year, next year, being a formidable team, which that's all you want. You want a chance to win conference because that's all you have to do now to get into the playoff. You get into that and really, if you get into the conference championship, you're getting a chance to get into the playoff. That's all we want. And we never really had that hope last year, I know for a fact. But just we kind of peaked, I think, that Florida game when we were at Florida a couple of years ago in the bowl game. And it was like, all right,
We peaked after that for sure.
Because I feel like that set the stage of like, all right, we're going in next year, boom. This is what we're going to do. We fell short. Then, again, you fall short. And that's just now it's like, okay. Yeah, we have some fans that are kind of nuts.
Well, I mean, even the media was higher expectations for us. ESPN always consistently had us winning a lot of these games, and that is what it is. Now, as to the actual statement, I'd rather have a rebuilding team with a losing record than a Gus team that doesn't just have any spirit. Hey, listen, if they got 10 wins or got to a playoff, I'd take the Gus win. Gus any day of the week. But yeah, I get what you're saying, right? All right, next we have Rand8355 says, thanks for the great video, 34-17 Kansas. I hope I am wrong. You were close, 34-17. You were closer than I was. You were 3 points off there. Welcome to Jessica Sheldon as well. We gained another 12 new subs this week. Unfortunately, I didn't get all of you because I can't see everyone who joined because of your settings, but welcome to Jessica. As a reminder, please like, subscribe, and share our content with your friends and family because we do it for you. Also, something that I wanted to kind of bring up that I just happened to look at when I was looking at our YouTube statistics, 15,000 views so far this month. The countries that we have been viewed in, United States, obviously, Canada, shout out to Ontario because you guys are carrying the weight there. At number 2, United Kingdom, so the UK, Australia, Germany, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, and New Zealand. So those of you that are watching overseas, I just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate your support. As far as states are concerned, it's Florida, then California, Texas, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, Washington, Oregon, and Tennessee. What that tells me is we should be moved into either the Big Ten or the SEC based on those viewing numbers right there. 18% of you are watching us on TV right now. We appreciate your support. Again, like, subscribe, follow, and please, please, please tell your friends. Thank you very much. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and swim it yet again to Alan's Oxymoronic Stat of the Week. Alan, take it away.
It's definitely oxymoronic this week for sure. So, I think this is no surprise, but, in the first 3 games where we went 3-0, UCF had over 200 passing yards in all 3 games. The last 2 games we've lost, we've had well under 200 passing yards. But the thing I found interesting, I know we all do not like KFC Jefferson and UCF Nation here. But
hold on, I gotta correct that. It's not KFC Jefferson. It's Waffle House Jefferson. Remember?
Oh, okay. Waffle House, KFC. I mean, KFC goes with his name a little bit.
It's not the same thing. Come on, bro.
Well, his name starts with a K, so or KJ, whatever. So, anyways, so all right. So we know he started the first 5 games last year. And we know Taven has not started all 5 games. He's been injured. So what I did was looked at the first 5 games passing and opponent wise, it's fairly similar. We had a couple cupcakes in 2024. Same here. A couple conference games, an out of conference game. Obviously UF better than UNC this year. But last season, through 5 games, we were 70 of 118 for 1,034 passing yards, 8.8 yards per attempt, 7 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This year, 96 of 152. So a lot more passing attempts, as we don't have RJ Harvey anymore. 1,114 yards. So not that many more. 7.3 yards per attempt. So about 1.5 less.
It's
4
not
passing
bad.
touchdowns.
That's
2
not bad.
interceptions. Yeah.
That's not bad though. I think the passing touchdowns is definitely we're getting our touchdowns on the ground, but I think our defense is a whole heck of a lot better performing wise. So
defense. I'm just talking about the passing offense. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I'm saying I think part of that is that a lot of the time we were playing from behind or having to pass the ball quite a bit for long bombs last year versus this year, and we had RJ Harvey in the backfield. I mean, you see what he's doing. I got his first TD against my Bengals, so whatever. But I love RJ Harvey either way. All right. Interesting stats for sure. We're definitely playing a lot more balance this year and definitely passing more. 7.3, considering how many short passes we have been throwing, is actually not bad. Taven Jackson definitely was off last game. He sailed quite a few balls. One of the things that he was known for, and this is something I said in the text talk as well, is he doesn't do very well. He's not very accurate with a wet ball. And we've had nothing but rain all year. It's crazy. There's some other statistics that are out there that are kind of crazy on that. So just to add on to your segment here, since we have a little bit of time, since joining the Big 12, we have been the more penalized team in 17 out of 20 games. We've won on turnover margin 4 out of 20 times. So 15 times we've been 3/4 of the time we are losing the turnover ratio. Outgained the opposing teams 13 out of 20 games. Now you think about that, what our conference record was, and we outgained 13 out of 20. It goes back to being able to punch the ball in for scores. We've been able to move the ball up and down the field, but we haven't been able to score. We've started 8 quarterbacks in 3 seasons. 8. That's nuts. We've had 4 QBs injured. We've had only 2 fumble recoveries in our last 11 Big 12 games. 2 missed field goals against us in our last 11 Big 12 games. One of them was that long TCU one towards the end of the game. If you take out North Carolina A&T, we've had 2 total fumble recoveries in our last 16 games. That's nuts. That's a crazy stat. And we've had, going back to 2018, 6 starting QBs get injured. We just have not had consistency at the QB position. And those are some crazy stats for me. All right. Now we're going to swiv it again. Swiv it to the quick update on UCF Sports that Alan and Andrew do not watch, and probably Trey too, but that's okay. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about that. UCF women's soccer is now 8-2-2 on the season, having a great season. As you remember, if you want to go back and watch, we had Coach Tiff on before, I think they actually started the season. We're starting the season. Great interview with her if you want to go back and watch a little bit of that. She brought in a lot of really, really good players this year, talented scoring players this year out of the transfer portal. And we have an expanded roster with more scholarships, which is hat tip to Terry. Those of you that know me know that how I feel about Terry, but that was one smart thing he did, was instead of just investing in money, he increased the number of scholarships, which has helped the women's soccer team exponentially. They won 2-0 against the Utes at home, and they tied K-State 0-0. So that's where that second 2 came from. And next up, they're traveling to Cincinnati with the team, and they'll be playing them at Cincinnati. Men's soccer, on the other hand, complete opposite, 3-5-1. They did beat South Carolina, USC East, 2-0. Remember, we're in the Sun Belt Conference. Men's soccer is a little bit different. Women's soccer, we're in the Big 12 Conference. And they beat them away 2-0. However, things don't ease up, we are actually playing number 6 Georgia Southern on Friday. For those of you that don't know, the Georgia Southern and the Sun Belt Conference is actually one of the better conferences in the country as far as soccer is concerned. UCF volleyball is 10-5 after losing a heartbreaker, really, to Colorado in 5 sets. They took the first 2 and then lost by 2 points on the next 3 to lose that series. They're up. They're playing Iowa, and then they lost to 1-3 Iowa. Then they lost to Iowa State 1-3. Next up, it doesn't get any easier. They have number 11 TCU, which is their space game or space match, as they call it, on Thursday, followed by West Virginia on Sunday. Women's golf travels to the Illini Invitational this week. They're currently playing. So when we started this show, they had not finished their first round yet. They're playing today and tomorrow. UCF men's golf, women's golf's been doing fairly well. Men's golf has not. They're currently playing at the Island at West Bay Collegiate, hosted by Florida Gulf Coast. They finished the day in 8th place and 30 strokes behind the leader, Florida Gulf Coast, after one day. Ouch. So they've got tomorrow to play, but I don't think they're going to make up 30 strokes in one game. So, because they finished even. So men's tennis and women's tennis, there isn't anything to report yet. They are playing basically scrimmage and exhibition games right now. So hopefully they'll do a little bit better. And we're looking forward to softball as always. All right. That wraps it for this week. I just want to finish out by saying this. Number one, UCF football is better than what their record shows. Number two, this defense is going to keep us in games for a while. The quarterback situation is really going to control how the rest of the season goes. And, we appreciate – I don't go too far the other direction on this football team yet. We knew that they weren't going to be great. Our expectations were low. They're better than we thought they were, and I think they're going to win games and potentially make a bowl game. So with that being said, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends. Go Knights, and
charge on.
Charge on, baby. All right, who's going to talk randomly for Josh this week? I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know.